Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Be a Changemaker. I hope everyone is safe and doing well. We are pleased to welcome each one of you. My name is Saili Shirke. I'm a third year student in YCCE studying ETC. I also am a IEEE member of YCCE student branch. Before we get started, I'd like to thank my team for giving me this chance to host the event. I now introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Ajinkya Deshpande. He is a alumnus of YCCE. Yes, you heard right. He is a former student of YCCE, passed out in 2009 from ETC department. He is a Economics Times Young Leader 2019. He is currently working as a manager, consumer insights at Colgate Palmolive India Limited. He have worked as general manager in Vodafone, research executive in the Nelson Company, also as the deputy manager in WNS Global Services. My sincere welcome to you, sir. Today is all about uncovering 0 to 1, where our speaker, Mr. Ajinkya Deshpande, will address you all about the entrepreneurship and startup environment. Now, I ask all students to mute their mics, and even the slightest doubt are welcome. You can ask your doubts in comment section. Please don't shy away. They will be answered in Q&A round. I now ask Mr. Ajinkya sir to continue with the session. Thank you. Sir, you are not audible.
My bad. I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
And is my screen visible to everyone on a slideshow mode?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So, a few quick pointers, hygiene checks before we begin the presentation. Uh, A, it is not presentation, it is a dialogue. So, feel free to stop me anywhere. Uh, B, you can address me as Ajinkya. And C, I would like more participation, a dialogue, because what I've done is I've tried to create some slides for us. Entrepreneurship or startups are a really vast context, and what I have done is when I was chatting with Professor Parshodkar or Ronak, I've tried to focus on very specific aspects of entrepreneurship or startups. So what I'll do is, firstly, let me thank Professor Parshodkar and Ronak for organizing this session. Thank you very much. It is always a pleasure to get in touch with YCCE, and I'm very proud of being a part of this ecosystem. Um, so let me give you a glimpse of what we'll do. I planned this session for about 30 minutes and 35 minutes and about 10 minutes of Q&A. So we'll try and not hold you up on your Sundays for long. I've divided it into two parts. The first one is just to give you some simple story what I have gone through in terms of what were some encounters with entrepreneurship or startup mindsets for me, and the second thing is how do I see the changing world around us. Yeah, that is completely my perspective, and feel free to contradict or disagree. But my intent is, at least if you are able to pick up one or two solid nuggets and work on it, uh, then I would be very happy. The reason why I titled this 0 to 1 is also because I believe it is a really powerful yet simple statement to make. Today, an idea which is not existing, a need which is not existing, is equivalent to zero, right? Or an untapped idea or an untapped need, right? So either you tap into an existing need or you create a need for it, right? So that's when you bring it to life, and hence something which is as clear as being zero to being brought to one. From an electronics engineering point of view, I'm sure a lot of us will agree, when we study binary, there's a zero and there's a one state. I want all of us to think about the one state when we go ahead. Yeah. And this is a very famous book. I love to read. I have tried to share a few uh, learnings what I have gone through and saw them reciprocated through some of the business books. I'll try and share them. But 0 to 1 again is from Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a German American billionaire. is about $2.2 billion net worth, if I'm not wrong. He was the co-founder of PayPal and the first outside investor to Facebook. So do give it a read, Zero to One. That's a brilliant book and it's very inspirational. Personally, one of my favorites. Yeah. So let's begin. This is the first section. I'll try and jump through. So, how have I seen my journey? Let me talk to you about those changes. Okay, this has been my educational journey. I start from grad, not getting into schooling, but I hail from Nagpur. Did electronics and telecom engineering from YCC, 2005-9 batch. Um, then without any break, did Masters of Management Studies from Wellington. And I continue to learn more. Avado Digital is an online platform, and I pursue a lot of digital marketing courses there. And I'm also actively pursuing digital fundamentals from Google. Yeah, that's a bit on the educational side. Professionally, after my MBA, I joined Nielsen, popularly known earlier as AC Nielsen. Was called as a market research field earlier, today being rebranded into a much more stylized name as Consumer Insights. Fundamentals remain the same. So, have been a student of human behavior, and as a subset of it, it is consumer behavior. So, dabbled with that, multiple sectors: retail, consumer product goods, tech, um, beverages, foods, etc., etc. So WMS TNS. So there is one block which is understanding the servicing side of the business, how to unlock the consumer insights. That's my side of Nielsen, WMS, and TNS. All of these are in the similar analytics stroke consumer insights domain, post which I moved to the other spectrum with Vodafone, where I started using these from a business implication point of view. Okay. Um, so I became an insights user and a marketer, where I firstly identify the business problems and then try and unlock the consumer insights using partners like these. Yeah. And today I have moved on to Colgate Palmolive. I work in the FMCG industry, and that's where I continue to work. A very big part of my personal space also goes with interacting with startups. Yeah, I work with multiple
Sir, sorry to
startups.
interrupt.
Yeah,
Sir, are you changing the slides or are we at first
not
slide
really.
only?
I am on the second slide. Are you able to see
Uh,
a slide which is titled educational or professional?
no, sir, slides are not changing.
Oh, that's fine. Um,
Yes, now it
I,
is visible.
yeah, but it is actually
Sir,
in
now
a.
There is third
third,
slide.
third slide, sorry.
Give me a minute. Let me try and restart the presentation.
Ajinkya, go for sharing entire screen. There is some problem in
Correct?
Google Meet nowadays. If you
Yeah,
select particular
just did it.
selected screen, then you will, yes. So go for
Yeah,
entire screen, then the problem will resolve.
true, very true. Is it visible now?
Yes,
Yes,
the
Are
sir.
you
slide
seeing the
is
slide which is
educational
educational and
professional. Yes,
professional
Yes, sir.
title?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So, what is a presentation today without a technical glitch? So, don't worry. I think we have all learned to live with it. Um, so, yeah, a large part of my current personal time also goes while interacting with startups. Um, some of them based out of Mumbai, some of them based out of Bangalore, some also based out of Pune. That's a very personal task and no revenue stream task, honestly, for me. But I love working with startups or partnering with them in whatever capacity I can. I'll talk to you more about it in some slides. But yeah, the one thing what you'll notice is what I have believed in it is something what Andy Grove spoke about is your career is your business and you are its CEO. So I'll keep sharing some things what I really believe and work towards. So one of the things, if you're really interested in entrepreneurship, stay that much hungry as you are right now. The sheer fact that you are spending some time on a Sunday to discuss something about startups or entrepreneurship shows one level up compared to somebody who's not. And just build on it. Stay hungry, stay foolish. I'm sure all of us have heard about it. Explore as much as you can. Something which is similar to financial investing. These are your early formative years. Explore as much as you can. Don't bother. Trust me, there are many schools of thoughts on it, and I'll tell you one of the simplest things what I have heard in one of my job interviews is that how do you define that in I have completed a decade of work experience after MBA. How do you define working with 4 companies till now, just in a decade? Okay, and everybody has a different school of thought, completely respectful of the point of views what we have, uh, but it is something what you should believe in, right? What is your story? What do you want to do? Do you want to just progress in one vertical or one space? Completely okay, stay there, build yourself. But if you want to explore more things, I wanted to work across different fields, tap into different skill sets, see the other side of the spectrum. Feel free to move in the early years, right? It is something like mutual funds, right? Or investing. At a younger age, you can invest in equity, right? And at a latter half, you don't think about taking the same risk appetite as you age. So, just something to share. This is something what I believe in. Feel free to think about it a bit more. Yeah. So that was just a small snapshot of my educational and professional journey. But let me now ease into the topic what we are here for. The first thing what I want you to think through as I speak about a few examples is just think about discovering the change moments around you in your life. Be observant, okay? And there are many what I could have spoken about. I have picked up a few nuggets, uh, and especially from YCCE, so that you know that while you are at YCCE, what are the things what happened with me in 2005 to 2009, and you can take a leap from there, and you can see something if around you what you can build on. So let me give you the first moment example. This is again my part of journey. I'll come to the actual changing startup world later, and feel free to ask questions. In my second year of engineering, I was at IIT Delhi representing Maharashtra at a paper presentation competition. Okay, and I felt really high about it there. Dude, and this is really great that I'm representing Maharashtra technical paper presentation competition. My paper on telecom was selected to be a finalist. Different high altogether. And with that air in mind, I went to Delhi. When you're presenting this paper, there is an entire day when there is this exhibition. People come, people go, people ask you questions on what are your thoughts behind this paper, and they discuss their agreements, disagreements with you, and move on. During the free time, during the spare time, or not on the exhibition days, we who were the uh, attendees, we could scroll through the campus and attend any event what we wanted to with the badge what we want. One of the events what I saw was happening around IIT Delhi swimming pool, where the technical committee had organized an event for water polo playing robots. And that just struck me that what am I doing? And I was in the second year, and somebody from third year engineering in IIT Delhi was winning the competition right then and there. And that's when my interest in robotics startup spiked up, and I decided to pursue this, and I came back. That was a change moment. That was a big slap in the face for me that it is not just theoretical, it is not just academic. Till the time you actually don't see the 0 to 1 happening, you should not be complacent. Yeah, because success breeds complacency, and you should not be complacent. So that was a big moment for me that while I'm studying, while I'm thinking about it academically, how do I see that impact on action? Actual 0 to 1. So it's as simple as when you are switching off the battery, you are in a zero mode, and when you're switching on the battery, you see an input getting delivered to the circuit, and that's when it becomes operational. That was a big 0 to 1 moment for me. Yeah, and that is when I came back and I started studying robotics and delved deeper into it. It was not an easy job at all. uh, I have a very dear friend from my same batch, same uh, specialization, Anay Rekde. Um, so we both started something what we coined as Phoenix Innovations, and I'll talk more about it. But we both, I came back and started discussing this with him. We were members of ESA at that point of time. I don't know if ESA exists. Does it today? Yeah. We used to call it ISA. I think later on it got rebranded or something. Never mind. Uh, but we were chatting and how do we make this more popular? Uh, so we started picking up books from our own library. We started chatting with some of our colleagues from VNIT, professors from YCCE, professors from RKVC, VNIT. Uh, we had same school friends scattered across colleges. So that was the start. One thing what we believed in was let's test waters on robotics with something what we believe is more low hanging fruit. So we organized something called as Voyager, which was a tech quiz. I'm sure our Yash and TechFest, I forget, is it still called Icon? Maybe someone can volunteer. What is it called today?
Yes, icon.
Okay, super. So during that icon stream of events, we said that let's test our waters with robotics. Okay, and we organized Voyager. This is an old memory, a very bad memory to show, but this is something what we did in our. If you remember the first year block, there was a last room in the top floor, on the top floor, and we just organized a tech quiz there, focused on robotics, and also there were some other topics, but yeah, robotics was the mainstay, and we just wanted to test waters that whether people pay and whether people come for it, and how engaged are people, right, or how informed are people on robotics. That's where it all started. So we were looking for tapping the pulse that today how entrenched is robotics as an active interest amongst the students, amongst peers, amongst seniors, amongst juniors. That was our thought, and hence this was the first thing what we did. Okay, just one thing to share on this slide before we move on. Again, what Peter says, every moment in business happens only once. The next Bill Gates will not build an operating system. The next Larry Page or Sergey Brin won't make a search engine, and the next Zuckerberg won't create a social network. So if you're copying these guys, you aren't learning from them. So discover your story, discover your moments, keep observing, be curious, right? That's the key. So I'll talk you through more of this story. Yeah. While this was happening, robotics was happening. One big thing, like all of us have been in the student associations, was our Electronics Engineering Students Association. And while we progressed to the third year, still keeping that ambition alive of doing something in robotics, one challenge which was handed over to us was no funds or shortage of funds. And Electron Newsline was a newsletter, what was a big thing. I'm sure. Is it still continuing right now? Sorry, I'll keep asking these silly questions. It is always good to feel nostalgic.
Yes, Ajinkya, tradition is still continued. Still, we are
Awesome.
publishing Electron News 9 on 15th of August every year.
I'm very happy. Very happy to know that. So we were short of funds, and we were third year guys, and we were told that guys do anything. And this is 2008. Uh, yeah, 2008 roughly, and we were slipped into recessionary phase. Nobody was willing to sponsor, and that's when we got thinking that guys, this is not the right time. But how do we get sponsorship? How do we keep floating around? That's when we got thinking about who could be the right influential people and how can we create the right context for them. So again, similarly, keep observing, keep scanning the market, and speak to more people, and just widen your frame of reference. Typically, in a sponsorship scenario, the way we used to operate is uh, go and speak to the older sponsors and just get some money from them, whatever is possible, by convincing them more of engaged activities. This was not going to work in 2008. So we went out and we said that who could possibly be interested in talking to a student audience, yeah, and how could we matter. So we selected three fields. One is, of course, these tech companies like Intel. The second one is, I think, career counseling, because at that point of time, that was not a revenue stream big enough for us from a sponsorship point of view. And the third, I don't remember, but I remember there were three fields. And this was one of the largest sponsorships what we got during the recessionary phase from Intel, because we created the right context. Uh, and the way we deployed it was not just one way. It's something which is as lean. Being a startup minded team, what we managed to do was with minimal resource consumption. How can you get more money and how can you make it more attractive proposition for Intel to sponsor? That was our first Intel sponsorship. And we spoke to the guy in the middle is Mahesh Kurpole. He was the divisional manager for Intel for Maharashtra and Goa. We spoke to him, based out of Nagpur, got it done. And it was not just a sponsorship deal for Electro Newsline. We also promised him that while this newspaper reaches, and we were expanding the reach to multiple colleges, and we gave him proofs. Um, but we also organized a demo of Intel's products in our college, got students deals, and although typically in these kinds of events there is not a huge pickup, but he managed to create awareness for his products. That was also one of his goals from a business point of view, what he had to deliver to the right TG, and that was an important KPI from him for him. And the second thing is whatever deals he cracked, whatever initial early interest what he cracked there was a bonus, right? So that was one of the things what was happening parallelly while we were still thinking of robotics. Let me give you a quick summary of why these pictures. The left hand side, I'm very proud of this team who's worked with me. These are my immediate juniors, 2006 2010 batch from electronics and electronics telecom. Brilliant people. Everybody is doing very well in their own career streams. The middle picture, like I said, is Manish Potpole, then divisional manager of Intel, and the right side is just a snapshot. In those times, I'm really sorry we didn't have those our fancy phones, and hence the memories are very hazy. I could find out some clearer pictures and I've just put them. So again, a journey just to share that whenever you are hit hard, find the right context, find the relevant content in that, and you can still chug along. Yeah, it is not a problem. It is like Randy Bosch says, it's not how hard you hit, it is how hard you get hit and keep moving forward, right? And that became our continued partnership with Intel. Okay, that's when, so some of your low points actually are inflection points when you bounce back. If you're following economy today, COVID has made India struggle during Q2, but we are in a V-shaped recovery and we've bounced back stronger, much to everybody's disbelief. Yeah. So I strongly believe that if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, then you find the right context, find the relevant context and content, and play it on front foot. Just to share, Randy Posh, you should Google him. This is yet again another beautiful book. The last lecture, this guy had about 7 tumors in his stomach, and he fulfilled all his childhood dreams till the time he was alive. He made a bucket list and he ticked off each one of them after he discovered these tumors. So just read it, or else there is a 1 hour, 1.5 hours video online on YouTube. Randy Posh, the last lecture, just see the lecture what is delivered in his university. Brilliant person, brilliant learnings. Okay, so moving on to our robotics story. We cracked the code, we designed a few modules. There were many events. We started very basic from line followers and robo wars. Sound very cliche today, but at that point of time, we were really getting famous for it. And this is one of the snapshots what we did, which I'm really proud of. I tell you again, why do I say so? Uh, we organized one of a kind workshop in 2008 end, called as Autonomous Fire Extinguisher Workshop. And the reason why this was one of a kind is because we were not limiting it to Nagpur, and we reached out to our network across Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh, and we called in students from there. Secondly, the ticket value of all your robotics prices, uh, event prices, entry prices used to be somewhere around 100 150 rupees at our time. We thought it big, and we had asked for 2000 rupees per team of either 2 to 4 people basis whatever the students could manage. Sorry. So that was again a big stake for us from a startup mindset point of view, that will people pay? Yeah, because we had our credibilities at stake. We were nobodies. We still are nobody, but even at that point of time, we were nobodies in college. Um, and the only credits what we had was me going to IIT Delhi and I going to IIT Kharagpur, being selected as finalists, winning some competitions locally, etc. But nothing else. But the sheer, like I said, during that Voyager competition, we had tapped into the pulse that are people interested in robotics? Do they want to do something about it? And then we built up slowly through line follows, through RoboWars, through some more events like not just doing conventional treasure hunts during Yasha and Icon. We did a technical treasure hunt, and to our disbelief, when we had asked people to bring in antenna, somebody actually uprooted their own TV antenna and got it. And They were roaming around our 5-acre campus with the TV antenna, hunting for the next cube. Really funny moments. Unfortunately, we don't have those memories clicked. They are just visual memories. But yeah, that was a build up. And this was one of our last few events in college, uh, where people actually came in from Chandrapur, Amravati, Aurangabad, Durg. They stayed in our friends' dormitories, rented rooms. Our hostel, we had taken permission. I think at that point of time it was Bankar sir, if I'm not wrong. Karule sir and team had been gracious enough. Karule sir was the HOD at our point of time, uh, to allow all of these kinds of activities, and we had taken one of the new buildings ground floor last labs to create this setup. This was a MATLAB session on the left hand side. If you see, it coached people on the first day how to write codes, how to think about it, what is the concept of building autonomous fire extinguisher. We gave them the day, the rest half of the day, to build their own circuits, and the day two was actually the event. You see a small snapshot there that one of the competitors going there with his or her robot and extinguishing the fire. So that was a huge success for us and a huge moral uplift, uh, that we could actually scale up a 2-day event. We had also had catering, etc. in YCC. So what we really believed is that we were not going in the conventional way. Okay, and I'm sure that you must be aware of TRI, the Robotics Institute from IIT Bombay. Um, we had gone to IIT Bombay, we had seen it there, and we were making it big here. We were earning more. We were actually creating a startup. And initially, money business was a really bad part. What we did, we really did not manage finances well. We could have charged it more. We could have gotten more money. We did not, because we were still trying to find our place in the market. Yeah, but and build credibility. But yeah, this event gave us a lot of success. Yeah, and the name. And one thing what we found out, and what I really believe, again, Peter's comment is competition is for losers. Entrepreneurs should aim for monopoly. Google will not come and say that, uh, I just want to compete with Bing, right? Or Bing will not come and say that I want to compete with Google. We know that Google has a monopoly in search, and they have about 60-65% of the search market share. And hence, and while they don't talk about it, they still say that I am a technology company, and I have social to compete with Facebook. I have automated cars to compete with Waymo and Uber. I have search, which I'm decently doing well. I have advertising to compete with most of other people. So they just divert your focus. But actually, entrepreneurs are very shrewd. They are very focused, and they aim for monopoly in whatever what they do. I really believe this statement from him. Many people don't. Feel free to disagree if you don't. But this is something what we learned from there. Yeah. The last one is when we were at IIT Bombay, and again, yet another proud moment, when we actually were selected in the Artbots competition in TechFest 2009 January, if I'm not wrong. Um, and we were actually selling our concept to some of the IT students there. A speech activated wireless robot, and this was done using MATLAB. This was actually our final year project, and we just sold it well. We were marketers. That's Vaibhav, again another my batchmate, but very dear friend. And on the right hand side, you will see the IIT Bombay campus building, one of the buildings. So something what we learned through this phase is brilliant thinking is rare, but courage in even short is actually even in shorter supply than genius. I'll give you yet another moment from this uh, phase on the left event. We had actually planned for introducing the kits to the students in the first half itself while we were teaching them. But on the day prior, when we planned to buy the microcontroller ICs, the 8051s, Atmel was out of stock, and we had to airship it. I had some friends in IIT Bombay. We had to airship it from Bombay, and hence we pushed all of that to the second half so that the ICs came in time. We literally sent somebody from ISA to go and collect these ICs from the pickup point after we got them airshipped. So there are really difficult moments, but you have to compete. You don't have to lose sight. Just aim for that monopoly. Yeah, just be courageous. Through all of this, I'm not trying to portray that I'm a hero. but I'm just sharing some learnings what we have. So just be observant around what is happening in the campus, outside the campus, in your personal lives. There are a lot of learnings there, which brings me to my next slide and final slide on my journey. There are three pillars what I learned. The first being insights. Even while we were in engineering, while we don't use this term, but we look for insights, what works and what doesn't work, right? A simple statement again from Stan Stanunathan. He is a Unilever Insights head, global insight strategy head, is that people are consumers for only few hours of the day. They are people through the rest part of their day, right? So unless you are a brand or you are a product, what adds value to their lives, you will not have a staying power, right? So that is the thing what we should remember, that whatever we are creating, whatever we are observing, is that going to add value to our end consumer if you have that entrepreneurial mindset. Think about your final year projects. Think about your 6 mini projects. Think about anything what you do in internship or what you gain, what you intend to do in the quest of learning something practically. Think about how is it that going to create an impact, right? Are you going to learn something? Because time is what you have, and that is your currency. Don't waste it. So see the insights. Okay, again, yet another example from our college days. We used to manufacture PCBs. How did we go around it? Is when we understood that in our labs we were just getting better and better at fabricating those PCBs. So we bought PCBs from outside. We tried piloting it in our labs using the drill machines, etc. And we started a business out of it. You won't believe, we actually sold some PCBs through. So Anay and me, we actually did something at our homes, and we sold those PCBs using the skill what we learned at college to somebody who was making an instrumentation kit. Just unbelievable. So just figure out these adjacencies, figure out what are the gaps in the market, what people are facing, and just go for it. So the first thing, coming back to the slide, is focus on the insights. What is the need gap, or can you create the need gap? Right? You are an entrepreneur. There is no shame in creating a need gap. Ubers didn't used to exist. People always are convenience seekers. They created this gap and they marketed their product very well. Yeah, they understood that there is some tension what they can play up. The tension may not play up for everybody, but slowly somebody who doesn't find it relevant today will come back to Uber later. So they worked on it. So find those insights. Yeah. The second thing is, yeah, let me not talk about it. Just help me understand. uh, Anybody just volunteer, because I'm on a screen sharing mode, I can't see the screen. uh, but if you can, um, tell me what are the building blocks of making a car. If you were to make a car, what all would be the building blocks? Can somebody volunteer? I've been speaking so much about electronics. My apologies, but that has been my journey. So I would want to request somebody from the mechanical engineering team is on the call. Don't hesitate, guys. This is just a dialogue. I just want to understand what is running in your mind. Let me talk through it.
We can begin with the frame.
Okay? Go on.
Then we will decide about the design and structure of body,
Okay? Good.
and then we can decide about the engine,
Mhm.
and uh, we will finally get onto our wheels and suspension,
Okay? Fabulous.
and then interior, all the things.
Perfect. And then assembling it together, right? Okay, may I know who was speaking?
Sir Ronak.
Okay, Ronak, thank you. I think there is some, I heard a noise. I heard a sound, my apologies, but I can't see the comment box. So if there is a question, somebody please read it out. Otherwise, I'll go on. I'll just give it a few seconds.
Uh, Someone named Sarvesh has given the uh, steps. He has said that first raw material, then frame, then design and engine, then assembly line.
Perfect. Okay. So Guys, that's what I want to quash for today. Okay. Uh, when you are an entrepreneur, see this is, there are different use cases, there are different scenarios. Okay. But if you want to be a change maker, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to do something of your own, you always have to keep learning. And I'm just going back to my first slide. Don't stagnate, be curious, stay hungry for that extra bit of knowledge, right? So in that quest, something what I learned during one of my corporate programs is skateboarding. Okay, and I was asked this same question in a workshop, and I gave similar answers to what you, Ronak and Sarvesh, gave right now. That with car in the mind, we are so tuned in a system one way, which is autopilot way, कि कार बनानी है तो मुझे पहले ढांचा बनाना है, उसके बाद स्पेयर्स बनाना है, उसके बाद उसका एफिशिएंसी देखूंगा, उसके बाद उसको पैक करूंगा, इंटीरियर देखूंगा और बेचूंगा. That is what we think. No, as an entrepreneur, you need to learn what works and build it step by step. So there is a concept called as MVP, minimum viable product. We should definitely focus on that. I wanted to share that thing, and hence I asked for an example. There are two people called as Eric Rice and Henrik. Um, they have this lean startup philosophy, and they had coined this term of MVP. It is also popularly known as skateboarding. So we don't, if you see the image above, we don't start with a car. Okay, we don't start and dream for a car. You first design a skateboard, learn to balance. Then you design a skateboard come cycle. See how is it progressing. You design a bicycle, sell it to consumers, get the feedback. You design a two-wheeler, sell it to consumers, get a feedback. You design a tricycle or an auto, sell it to consumers, get a feedback, and then you design a car. You realize the process, what's happening here. If you see the smileys, people may not be happy because they want a car, but again, you are trying to solve one need at a time and skateboarding, right? This is a very big concept. The way this helps you is twofold. One, learn design feedbacks at each and every stage. And two, you're already creating an awareness for you and yourself, your product in the market, because you're building on the products, right? It is something like going back to the first iPhone to 12th iPhone today, right? They're building. Imagine they had a task to build the 12th iPhone at that point of time, you wouldn't have seen iPhone till now. That's such a powerful thing to visualize. They're building, right? So that's the concept. While you uh, get into entrepreneurial mindset, think about how not to start only focusing on the end goal, but how to break it down. How many of us love cricket? I'm sure most of us have. Something what Harsha Bhogale keeps speaking on and many cricketers keep speaking on. Again, some insights from different parts of the world. Just keep observing these. I'm sharing some of my personal favorites. Is that when we are presented with a 400 run target or 396 run epic chase, what India did was to break that down into over by over target. In the first 10 overs, I will score X runs and get settled. I will not aim for an aggressive chase. In the next 20 overs, I will do this. And in the next phase, I will do this. So they broke down the targets and they went on for this. Again, something similar, right? So MVP or skateboarding, please keep that in mind. And the third thing is being an entrepreneur. Let me talk about some failures, even at mine. I've been speaking about like a hero. We are not. We closed down the startup, the robotic startup. We were doing very well, but we again lacked courage and lacked big picture at that point of time. We closed it down, went into family pressures that we need to learn our management skills and then come back if needed. So we closed it down. We went to pursue MBA. He did it, Anay did it later. A couple of years later, he was persistent, uh, and I did it immediately. And we joined our corporate workforce as a natural progression. We lacked courage. That's our failure. We should have. Um, but yeah, the entrepreneurial mindset doesn't die, right? You are an entrepreneur in your own world. That is very much doable. I'll give you two examples. One of the things what I did while being at Nielsen or Kantar or TNS or WNS is how do you run the business better? You are managing your own profit and loss statement, right? So how can you find optimizations in terms of operating costs and save more money and add to the bottom line? In that way, you are an entrepreneur. At Vodafone, we had an incubation cell. What startup to invite for selection versus what not? That also was governed by a lot of our business adjacencies or our investment potentials. Again, I was an entrepreneur. Today, I'm doing something which is helping drive public oral health at Colgate Palmolive. I am an entrepreneur even at Colgate. I'm very proud of that. That some of the things which are helping the society develop, helping benefit the society, are some things what I'm working on. Yeah. So in whatever role, even if you get into a job, that's not wrong. Okay. Entrepreneurial mindset doesn't die. Okay, you can be very well an entrepreneur. You can work for the betterment of your company, and these things are actually adding value to your resume, your appraisals, your performance appraisals, and they add bonus points. Nobody is going to ask you to do this, but if you have that mindset, if you have that desire, you will do it, and they will add you to a much more higher order coveted list. I will end this section, the first section, with again a line from Harsha. The moment you put a deadline on your dream, it becomes a goal. Yeah, he has written a very famous book with his wife Anita, called as The Winning Way. They do corporate workshops, by the way, by bringing in sports learnings to corporates. I have not seen that happen. I would love to do that, but I've read the book. If you are interested in cricket and these learnings, read through Harsha's book. It's a brilliant book. They now have a 2.2. So let me quickly go to changing world. I think we have 15 minutes, right, Ronak?
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Let me quickly flip through. Unemployment is peaking up, guys. Okay, and you've seen this. This is just a snapshot from Statista. There were many figures. I've tried to simplify this. Unemployment in India for youth, the way this is defined is 15 to 24-year-olds who don't have a job. Okay, and you see the graph. Almost 1 in 4 youth, 15 to 24-year-old, doesn't have a job today in India. This is speaking up. There are macro factors, and I'm not going to comment on politics at all, but there are steps being taken to address this. This is very different for urban versus rural, by the way. We are privileged, we live in a large city, we are in a better connected world. So, of course, when we see the ecosystem around us in Nagpur, this number will be substantially lower. The national unemployment rates, for your reference, are around 7%, and see the over indexation of youth. Okay. Part of it is also driven by education, because 15 to 24 is a wide age range and a lot of us are still learning, but that's the way it is evaluated globally. But the key point is this continues to spike up, and that's a wake up call for us. That are we seeking employment or are we keen to generate employment? That's a mindset shift, what you should think about. Okay. The second thing I wanted to show was, especially after COVID, gig economy has started to grow. What is a gig economy? You are not married to a company. You are known for your skill, and people come to you for your skill set. Okay. So I am a Colgate Palmolive, and I want to reach out to schools to go and do a activation program in terms of how to brush better. Right. I would not go out to a firm, and if I talk about gig economy, I would not go to a firm who's expert at only school activations. I would rather go out to somebody who's expert in this, who has a gig, and he can help me take up this program school by school, yeah, and building on our learnings there, like MVP. So freelance working, that has seen a huge increase, right? Corporates like even TCS, they have recognized, and you should read reports on gig economy. They have started recognizing the value, and freelancing has actually boomed after COVID. There was so much of a job loss that people have started working as gig workers, and they are financially stable today. Yeah, and the bottom snapshot is a snapshot on startup ecosystem. Our exponential growth started from 17-18 in India from a startup point of view. Startups existed even earlier, okay? But the exponential growth and the awareness started from 2017-18. At least that's what I have been reading about. And this is a small snapshot of a report. I can share that report later on with you guys. But today, there are about 55,000 startups launched in India. Yeah, and the amount of funds what they have raised is $63 billion. Just imagine crazy amount of monies being plowed onto startups. So just keep these numbers in mind uh, when you think about gig economy, when you think about startup mindset. Okay. The last thing on this slide is something again what Peter has spoken about is how do people think and how do you actually get into that mindset. For example, something to become a convention, it is our foundational mathematics principles. Something what he talks about in his book is Pythagorean theorem. Okay. While he was discovering it, to join his cult, you had to be a vegetarian and be at the table. Okay. And today, it is taught in schools. It has become a convention. So at that point of time, it was a secret. He was working on it. Today, it has become a convention. It is very easy to read through. And it is taught in schools. That's not what we are aiming for. We are aiming for the middle one, which is secret. Okay. And these secrets could be nature's secrets or people's secrets. Right. And that is what we have to unlock. Mysteries are, of course, being solved. They seem impossible, but they are being uncovered, and these are long range shots. Like, will man live on Mars? Right? Currently a mystery being worked upon. We'll get there. But at least from an entrepreneurial mindset, focus on not the conventions which are established. मेरे कैंपस में TCS आती है तो मैं कंप्यूटर टेक्नोलॉजी की स्किल बिल्ड करूंगा. No, find what you want to do, yeah, and focus on the secrets what you want to think of. I also have been there. I, being an electronics and comms engineer, you won't imagine I did a VB.NET certification from Connectcar and Asangdan, and it was useless for me. Utter bullshit. Nobody even asked me anything. I went into the TCS interview because that was the first company on the campus, and I followed the rat race. And I said, boss, मेरा startup वाटो तो चलने वाला नहीं है, MBA करना है, but I want to be safe. I want to go there. In case if MBA scores are not great, I will at least have a job. And TCS asked me nothing of VB.NET. They asked me nothing of my startup. Yeah, absolutely nothing. In fact, they just asked me quick sorts, Boolean algebra, blah blah. That's it. So focus on what you want to do and just go behind that. And to me, I think the simple thing what Peter spoke about is secrets. Work hard on the secrets what you want to unlock. See for secrets in the world what you want to go to and focus on it. I'll give you a quick snapshot of the business plan. I love one venture capital firm, which is Sequoia Capital. This is sourced from them, not mine. Um, they talk about 10 elements in writing a business plan. Once you have arrived, so this whole section, what I'm talking about is how do you think and develop a mindset towards going to entrepreneurship, right? The first thing what we saw were some stats that yes, employment generation versus employment seeking, both are challenges, but seeking is becoming an even more big challenge, right? And in our system one, which is the autopilot mode, we always go for seeking a job. Okay, can you become the other one, right? Can you dare to become the other one in terms of generating employment? Take that leap if you have the courage, right? And don't shy away from it. It always helps. I have a friend who never did an MBA and knows a lot about business compared to what I know even after doing an MBA. So don't shy away. Again, a batchmate, by the way, from YCC. So the first one from business plan is purpose. Define your company's mission in one sentence. What do you want to do? It is very, very difficult. It seems very easy. You end up actually describing features, simplifications, differences with competition. No, this is my mission, right? It should be simple one sentence mission. I give you an example later. What is the problem what you're addressing? What is the solution? Okay, why is it unique? Why will it stay? And where will it go? Is it a temporary? Is it a permanent solution? And why now? If you're thinking of it now, why wasn't it built before now? What is the market potential? Whom will you target? And what is the opportunity size? Who are the current competition and alternatives? Direct, indirect, how do you win over these? What is your business model? Who's the team? Because people matter. Everybody should not be an agreement seeker. There should be contradictions, there should be fights. That's when the best is brought out of you. What are the financials and what is your vision to grow? Yeah. Let me give you a quick example of Uber. I know we're running short of time, but I will make. Uber defined their statement, and this is Uber's pitch deck, guys. Legit Uber's pitch deck in 2008 when they raised funds for the first time. And this is taken from Garrett, who's the co-founder. He's published this story online, and I have given the link. If you want, I can share this link. Um, so, what was the purpose? It is next generation car service. What were they addressing? Today, all the taxi service, the car service was using aging and inefficient technology. There was no two-way communication. If I have to go, I call up, I go on the street, I wave my hand, the taxi driver stops and then I go. There is no driver reaching out. All the hailing, like I said, was done by hand, waving, or phone. I call up or I wave. No GPS coordination. A lot of arguments on directions, fares, and hence waste of time, called as dead time. Taxis were monopolies. There was no quality of service. Drivers were unhappy, they were underpaid. There were no incentives or accountability for both. Me traveling in your car and damaging your seat cushion, or the driver driving inefficiently, or I'm being late because of the driver. No accountability. And hence, digital hail of cabs could make it unnecessary. The solution was Uber Cab. They initially called it Uber Cab, later on they called it just Uber, the brand, to make it more powerful. A fast, efficient, on-demand car service. The market was professionals in American cities. What they were offering was a convenience of booking cabs on the go wherever you are, and the experience of a professional chauffeur. They were using the latest tech, optimizing their cab fleets, incentivizing drivers to do better. Must be a member to use. So that does two things, and just see the vision what they had. Today, anybody who has first party data can scale up, and it is hugely. Data is the new oil is a very abused statement, but a very true statement. And if you have more data, you can work on it and you can mine insights out of it. So they had this that you need to be a member and they can study your pattern, your locations, your ability to pay in different search times versus non-search times, and endless insights. So you have to be a member, and that's when they guaranteed professional and trustworthy clienting, not hailed from streets but from your phone, and a guaranteed pickup. Because even if you go out, and especially somebody who has been in Nagpur and in Mumbai, we are tuned to seeing this in terms of autos. No, hearing knows, right? And this was a guaranteed pickup. Why now? Because tech advancements enabled this future offering. Yeah. What was the potential? They showed that they wanted to start with New York City, most congested, and expand later. Smartphone was booming, and hence their app-based, website-based solution will boom. $4.2 billion in 2008. That was the size, and a heavily unorganized taxi market. And top four players had only 22% market share of the total 4.2 billion market. So imagine what was the opportunity behind Uber creating and going after this market. They had an expansion plan. They also presented potential outcomes. I'm not getting into that. I'll just get into the business model, what they spoke about. The key differentiators, we spoke about it. The operating principles were fabulous. Luxury service on demand. They spoke about getting in limousines, in cabs. Modern and fuel efficient fleet. Prius also was one of their models. Customer focused and computer coordinated. They were using algorithms, statistically optimized response time to find out your location in the nearest cab. Seems very simple now, but at that point of time, nobody was doing it, and they did it. The best end user experience possible, prepaid, cashless billing, and profitable by design. On every drive, I make money. Today, they are not. Unfortunately, they reshaped this business model and are burning money like anything. But that was the vision, and I just can't help appreciate the vision. What were the user benefits? Cabs don't guarantee pickup and can take 45 minutes. Was a problem. Today, that doesn't happen. Cabs weren't safe or clean. With Uber, that was not a problem. And no notice period. It can be on demand and not as costly as $60 plus taxes. Of course, there were environmental benefits like reducing carbon footprint. can read through it. They also had a vision for future. One of the important things I believe what they worked on is pay premium. So get here now costs more than tomorrow at 5 p.m. Simple hacks, people are ready to pay because of the relevance of this use case, right? Yeah, and they just delivered the progress what they had done till date in terms of development of apps, commercials, patent filing. How do they plan to take it to the next demo, etc. So just imagine this simple business plan what they created, and think about the idea what you're thinking about or the need gap what you're thinking about to model on these elements of business plan. Uber's business plan is just a demonstration of the business plan elements. How can people think about it? You're free to choose the elements. I think one of the last slides, what is booming in India? Retail, fintech, energy, enterprise apps, and auto tech. The five hottest sectors in India are receiving most funding. I have seen the report, and Flipkart, Amazon are out of this. Otherwise, Flipkart also sits into retail. Technically, it is B2C. So just imagine these are all either Sunicorns or unicorns. Who are unicorns are basically $1 billion plus net worth. So just imagine the kind of money what is getting pumped in, $63 billion funding till date, and these five sectors. Something as a food for thought for all of us. What can you actually go to? The left hand side is a collection of some websites which will help you understand the profiles of the startups. Crunchbase, TechCrunch. The middle bucket are some venture capitalists whom I follow. It is just heartening to see and insightful to see the stories of the companies what they're building. The last one is government support. Startup India is a dedicated website. There are resources available for every startup. And DIPP, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, they are also doing a lot in this space. And maybe I can just take time and I can just show you this one shot. This is Crunchbase. You can just see, you can analyze companies, people, investors, funding routes. I'll just give you an example. If I do a big basket search, it will show me big basket. It will show me who is it getting acquired by, highlights, number of acquisitions done by Big Basket, total funding, team members, news, details, etc. Sequoia, this is the venture capitalist bucket what I spoke about. The companies what they built, and there are enough resources by Sequoia. Yeah, their portfolio. And this is the Startup India website what I spoke about. These are the resources. There's an entire startup guidebook, and you can just blaze away using this. Yeah. So yeah, I think we are at the end of it. I'm opening it up for a few minutes of session. I'm sorry, I think I've consumed 2 more minutes, but very happy to chat. Let me go out of the presentation mode and see. Yeah. Anybody has a question? Or if you want time to think through, write to Ronak, he can share those questions with me. We can do it that way. I'm cognizant of your Sunday time. Happy to close it off anytime. Ronak, you can take the call.
Yes, sir. If there are some questions, then participants can either give it in chat box or they can also unmute it.
Yeah.
And share. Currently, there are no questions, and so the session was very interesting and gave really good insights to students.
Thank you. My core idea, again, like I said, was if you pick up even one or two things from this, personally, I believe what made difference to me when I was, or what could have made difference to me when I was studying at YCC were the sheer ideas of skateboarding or MVP. How do you think of going ahead? And the second thing is, how do I construct my thoughts on a business plan? We really didn't think about it. These are the two things. If I were to pick it, if I were you in 2005-9, I would have picked up these two things and I would have built on these. If there is anything else, what you want to ask, what you want to think about, and come back, very happy to chat. Otherwise, I think we're good.
Okay, thank you, Ajinkya. Especially, you have shared some photographs from your college here. So that's again, we are again back in the memories. And
Absolutely.
again, one thing I must mention here that you have means you have shared the activities through activities how you have learned different things. If you want to become a successful entrepreneur, I think this is the initial action every student must learn through different college going activities. So
Thank you.
this is one of the good thing I realize.
Thank you. We were on that journey. I'm sure that's helpful. And like I said, there were pitfalls. We didn't have the courage to go after, and now we realize, and hence we are working on it. But yeah, if somebody from YCC has a startup or can build, very happy to support it. It would be a proud moment for me. Yeah, I think I have some questions.
Yes, sir, in chat box.
Was your mindset of starting a startup early, that is in first year? No. Like I said, I think the first thing what clicked me. See, I never thought about starting a startup uh, earlier. Uh, Although there were some things what I was working on, I never realized it was going towards a startup. For example, in my school years, I was designing an electronic circuit. I had a cousin and took inspiration from him and getting deeper into electronics. So I had some clarity, but never thought about a startup per se till that IIT Delhi moment when I saw something which was really cool, and I thought that was a need gap that we as Nagpur engineering students at least were not thinking about it. There was no conversation. So that's when I thought about it with Anay, um, and we were building. The second question was, how did you deal with failure? Uh, I think patience. There were three key values what I had written on my last slide of first section: empathy, curiosity, and patience. Patience helped us deal with failure because as a startup we are really hungry for quick results, and we were not getting it. Something like we had put up so much at stake during that autonomous fire extinguisher robot event what we were planning for. That was a business proposition for us, but if just imagine the shock that the core, the heart of any circuit design, um, your microcontrollers, if they are not available, what will the students work on? That was a failure on our part of not preempting this. We should have got those ICs much earlier, right? So uh, it was just patience, staying calm, and finding out surrogate ways. How can you manage? So if I have to sum it up in a word, it would be patience, because that gives you the whole calmness and to think what can you do the next. That's how I dealt with it. Yeah, there are two more questions. Markets keep changing every day. Absolutely. How to analyze the need of market? Yeah, so Sarvesh, that's a very good question. Uh, you should look out for something what stays, okay, or what you believe will stay, yeah, or what you can make stay. Um, Somebody, if they were to go back and talk about uh, how what is changing every day, I'll give you an example. um, Tech, we are in electronics. Most of us are seeing the convenience, right, of how is tech changing every day. Storage is reducing and storage size is reducing. How do we tap into it, right? How do we analyze the need of the market? The need of the market is core. They need a larger storage, right? And what are the markers? What will help you understand how will it stay or how will it change? You need to identify the lead markers which influence the changes. For example, if storage is the thing which is being worked on, how is it changing? You need to understand why is it changing. Why are people storing more? A, because of connectivity. We were in 2G, we went to 3G, we jumped to 4G. Today we are aiming for 5G. High speed data access is becoming easier. Okay, that's the lead marker. That is a technology which is also influencing storage. The second thing which is influencing storage is in improving affordability or disposable income, right? That is a trend what you should pick up on, and hence affordable smartphones are picking up. There is a boom, so people will click more photos, right? People will stream more videos, and they would want to save more and store more, right? That's becoming a different part. That's another influence. The third thing from a business point of view is that people are actually looking in for more loyalty, they're creating more programs. So there is an increase in terms of requirement for storing your customer data, the first party data. Imagine Vodafone, the organization I was with, is 30 crore people ka second by second data on minutes of calling, seconds of calling, data consumed, location. It's huge. So identify influencers which are impacting your needs change and work on those influencers. You will find one thread that okay, this is a constant which will stay. It will change, but this is how it will change. So you don't design something basis a product for today, right? You design something basis a product which will cater to the needs 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line. You have to think forward. And that's how you first identify these influencers in the ecosystem and then think 5 years ahead. How will they be and design them? Um, three more questions. Good team support
Yes, sir.
between or a single person can do this? Absolutely not. You need a team. Um, you can't do it alone. Yeah, because see, you can think of only as much as you do, and that's what I have seen. At least with me, um, you really. So let's say you have a team, and even just having a team doesn't help. Okay, you need to think about people who can contradict and bring in their own point of views. If you recruit somebody who just agrees with you, they will never be helpful. So you should have a team. You divide responsibilities, get fresher perspectives to grow, and have people who can dare to challenge you. Definitely, team support is needed, and as diverse team as possible while founding a startup. Family pressure, yes, you have to convince. There is no one single answer. It all depends on everybody's family dynamics. Think about a bigger picture. If the pressure is huge, think about the timing when you want to make a leap. There are so many friends of mine, even me, we've gone through this, and we all come from humble backgrounds. There is no huge money support which is available. So make that money support which available for you by working. There is no harm. Be an entrepreneur. You of course make a network to fall back on, right? Establish connections in the corporate industry. Save money. Save enough money to at least sustain for 2 years. Okay, no EMIs. Save at least after EMIs. You can sustain with that money for 2 years and then jump into it if you want to give yourself another 2 years. Yeah. So I think that's the way what you can deal with that pressure. If I don't have a team but I have a vision for my idea, should I wait for like-minded people to come and join or go solo? Considering team is a must in the beginning of a startup. You can, no, you can start. See, what I'm saying is team is a must in scaling it, in building that idea further, right? You can of course start and show people uh, how is it building, right? You will not start and have a product next day or a service next day, right? You can create something, start, create a vision, create a document, and inspire others to join you. Okay, I would see team joining you as a journey. You start alone always. Okay, there are some examples where co-founders have got a similar idea, but you start with an idea and influence the right people to join you. You go solo always at the outset because it is your idea, but team is a must while you are building your product. Yeah, a product is not a day's job at all. A product will cater to something which is coming down the line. So you will take in a team, but just have the courage and go solo to start. There are enough examples where people have uh, going solo and then building a team.
Yes, sir. I guess we have this many questions. Only
What,
last question from Siley.
yeah, what makes you keep going? Um, Hard to pinpoint one, but core the core of it is I like to study human behavior, and I strongly believe the world is not going to be the same uh, as we started with, right? So the curiosity towards understanding where is it going is what keeps me going. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I guess now we can move towards the end of session. Siley, you can start with the vote of thanks.
Okay.
We don't need it. We don't need it. Don't worry. Sally, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just uh, spoiling some. Thank you so much. I see the slide. But honestly, it is a pleasure to once again connect back with YCCE. Um, like I said in the beginning, I'm very proud student of ICC. Very proud to be associated with the institution, and yeah, would love to stay connected. Thank you for this opportunity, Professor Person.
But
Sure.
still, I'd like to say, sir, we are inspired by your words. Like, your journey will will make us keep going. Thank you for sharing your waves and your journey with us.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir.
I enjoyed.
Thanks, Ajinkya.
Thank you.
See, this is the contribution from the student side. Still, after I think after 2009, still I remember your name, and intentionally I called you that. Okay, this is the